Bahaya nih Malaysia ya. Kecil-kecil cabai rawit mereka. Bermain di belakang layar, gak banyak gembor-gembor, gak banyak heboh di sosial media. Tapi tahu-tahu kelima negara malah bener-bener bergantung pada Malaysia. Oke, sebelum video reaction aku malam hari ini ada sebuah video yang sangat menarik banget guys. Judulnya ini kayaknya gak tahu ini berlebihan atau memang kenyataannya seperti itu. Jadi judulnya ada 5 negara nih yang bakal kolaps tanpa Malaysia. Dan beberapa dari 5 negara tersebut itu adalah negara superpower atau negara yang super maju banget. Jujur gue penasaran banget kira-kira apa yang dilakukan Malaysia terhadap 5 negara ini. Dan apa yang diberikan Malaysia kepada 5 negara ini sehingga kelima negara ini tuh bener-bener kayak dia tuh gak bisa hidup tanpa Malaysia gitu. Jadi mungkin kasarnya kalau Malaysia gak ada, negara ini juga bakal kesusahan gitu. Bahaya nih Malaysia ya. Kecil-kecil cabai rawit mereka. Bermain di belakang layar, gak banyak gembor-gembor, gak banyak heboh di sosial media. Tapi tahu-tahu kelima negara malah bener-bener bergantung pada Malaysia. Tapi ini gak tahu benar atau enggak. Kita lihat saja videonya apakah berdasarkan fakta atau enggak. Kita lihat video sekarang.
Malaysia is more than just a beautiful country. It's a hidden powerhouse that many nations secretly rely on to keep their economies and industries running. From vital resources to crucial trade routes, Malaysia's influence stretches far and wide, impacting some of the world's biggest players. In this video, we're diving into the surprising truth about 5 countries that would struggle to survive without Malaysia's unique resources and strategic support.
Wow.
You won't believe just how deeply these nations depend on Malaysia to stay afloat.
Bergantung guys.
So,
pada Malaysia.
Make sure to watch till the end, because the connections we're about to reveal might just change how you see Malaysia's role on the global stage. Let's get into it. But before we dive in, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment. I subscribe and I'll personally welcome you into the family. With that said, let's get started.
Jangan lupa subscribe guys.
Malaysia stands as a vital player on the global stage, shaping economies far beyond its borders with its rich resources, strategic location, and booming industries. Often celebrated for its diverse culture and stunning landscapes, Malaysia is, in fact, much more than meets the eye. It is one of the world's top producers of electronic components, supplying the critical semiconductors and parts that power devices from smartphones to vehicles around the globe. Major companies rely heavily on Malaysia's manufacturing capabilities, making it a linchpin in the global tech industry. Additionally, Malaysia is one of the largest producers of palm oil, a versatile ingredient used in everything from food and cosmetics to biodiesel fuel. This makes it indispensable to numerous countries where these industries thrive. The country's rich natural resources, including petroleum and natural gas, also position it as a top energy supplier in Southeast Asia and beyond, while its rubber industry plays a vital role in global manufacturing sectors such as healthcare, where rubber gloves are essential. Situated strategically along the Strait of Malacca, a key maritime route that links the Indian Ocean to the Pacific, Malaysia controls one of the most critical passages in global trade, allowing it to influence the movement of goods that affects nations worldwide. This blend of natural resources, industrial expertise, and a crucial location has made Malaysia an irreplaceable player on the global scene. Now let's dive into 5 nations that would face serious economic and industrial consequences if Malaysia's support and resources were suddenly taken out of the picture. Nation 1, Singapore. First on the list is Singapore, Malaysia's closest neighbor and one of the most advanced city-states in the world. Singapore's relationship with Malaysia is complex and deeply interconnected. One of the primary ways Singapore depends on Malaysia is through shared trade routes. Due to its compact geography, Singapore relies on land access to Malaysia to connect with surrounding regions. Malaysia serves as Singapore's gateway to the rest of the Asian mainland, supporting its efficient trade flow, which is the lifeblood of Singapore's economy. In addition to trade routes, Singapore depends on Malaysia for access to fresh water, an essential resource that Singapore lacks in sufficient quantities. A significant water agreement between the 2 countries allows Singapore to draw large volumes of water from Malaysia, specifically from the Johor River. This
Wih, ini di
arrangement has
Johor
been in
ini
place for
penting banget air
decades and is
soalnya.
crucial for Singapore's everyday life from drinking water to industrial needs.
Wah, benar
Without
sih.
this critical water supply, Singapore would face severe shortages that would affect not only its citizens but also its thriving industries. If Singapore lost Malaysia as a resource partner, the effects would ripple across its economy and infrastructure. Trade disruptions would increase costs and cause delays, while a sudden lack of water resources could lead to a national crisis. Singapore's unique position as a global financial hub would be severely impacted, as businesses and industries rely on stability and efficient logistics, which would be compromised without Malaysia's support. Nation 2 China. Next, we have China, one of the world's largest economies and a manufacturing powerhouse. Malaysia's role as a supplier of critical resources such as palm oil and rubber is essential to China's production sectors. As one of the world's largest producers of palm oil, Malaysia meets a substantial portion of China's demand for this versatile product, which is widely used in food processing, cosmetics, and personal care products. China's booming automotive industry also relies heavily on Malaysian rubber for the production of tires and various vehicle components. Without a steady supply of these resources, China's manufacturing and consumer goods industries would face cost increases and delays, which would hinder production and affect both local and international markets. Beyond palm oil and rubber, Malaysia also exports a significant amount of electronic components to China. Malaysia is one of the top producers of semiconductors, a foundational element in modern technology, from smartphones to industrial machines. Chinese companies, especially those in the electronics and tech sectors, depend on a reliable supply of these components to meet production demands and stay competitive on the global market. If Malaysia were to withdraw its exports, China would face a slowdown in its manufacturing sectors, leading to delays and increased costs in producing everything from consumer electronics to automobiles. This dependency shows how interconnected these two economies are and how Malaysia's resources are crucial to sustaining China's economic momentum. Nation 3 Japan. Japan, one of the world's most technologically advanced nations, heavily relies on Malaysia for two critical resources: natural gas and electronic components. Japan imports a significant portion of its liquefied natural gas LNG from Malaysia to fuel its energy needs. Since Japan has limited domestic energy resources, this steady supply from Malaysia is essential for keeping Japan's industries, transportation, and households running smoothly. Any disruption in this energy flow could lead to a surge in energy costs and force Japan to seek alternative, likely more expensive, suppliers, which would impact both consumers and manufacturers. In addition to energy, Japan also depends on Malaysia for a steady stream of electronic components that fuel its massive tech and automotive industries. Malaysia's highly developed electronics manufacturing sector supplies Japan with semiconductors and other key parts used in everything from consumer electronics to advanced machinery. Japanese companies such as Toyota, Sony, and Panasonic depend on these components to meet production demands and sustain their global competitiveness. A breakdown in this supply chain would disrupt production schedules, lead to delays, and potentially harm Japan's economy by affecting exports and domestic sales. Without Malaysia's reliable exports of natural gas and electronic components, Japan would face significant hurdles in maintaining its position as a leading manufacturer and exporter. This dependency underscores Malaysia's role as a critical partner in Japan's industrial landscape and highlights how the loss of Malaysia's resources would ripple across Japanese society and economy. Section 5 Nation 4 India. India, with its booming population and expanding economy, is one of the largest consumers of Malaysian palm oil, a staple in both cooking and industry. Palm oil is widely used in India for food preparation, cosmetics, and various industrial applications. Malaysia's abundant production meets a significant portion of India's demand, and without this supply, India would face a serious shortage of this essential commodity. The result would likely be a sharp increase in prices for palm oil-based products, impacting millions of households and businesses across the country.
Tentunya bakal
Finding
naik
alternative
harga-harga di
suppliers could be
sana.
difficult and expensive, putting pressure on India's economy and food supply chain. In addition to palm oil, Malaysia is an important supplier of machinery and electronic parts to India. Malaysia's contributions in these areas are essential for India's industrial growth, which relies on a continuous flow of technology imports for manufacturing, infrastructure development, and even defense. As India continues to modernize and expand its tech and industrial sectors, the demand for machinery and technology components from reliable partners like Malaysia remains high. Disruptions in this supply chain would slow India's growth, increase costs, and hinder the country's development goals.
Wow.
If Malaysia were to stop exporting these critical resources, India would be forced to search for alternatives that may not match the cost effectiveness and quality Malaysia provides. This would strain India's food industry and create bottlenecks in industrial growth, underscoring the importance of Malaysia's role in sustaining India's rapid economic ascent. Section 6, Nation 5, the United States. The United States, a global leader in technology and innovation, is another nation that depends significantly on Malaysia for essential imports, particularly in the tech industry. Malaysia is a top producer of semiconductors, a crucial component for the U.S. tech industry. From smartphones and computers to automotive electronics and medical devices, these semiconductors are the backbone of countless industries in the United States. Many American companies, including Apple, Intel, and Tesla, source key components from Malaysia, relying on its robust and cost-effective semiconductor production. If Malaysia were to halt these exports, the U.S. would face severe production delays, increasing costs, and potentially creating a backlog across various industries. Beyond semiconductors, Malaysia also supplies the U.S. with natural resources like rubber and palm oil, which are essential for various manufacturing sectors. Rubber is used in the healthcare industry for items like gloves and in the automotive sector for tires and parts. Palm oil, meanwhile, is found in numerous food and cosmetic products in the U.S. If the U.S. were to lose access to Malaysia's supplies, it would experience delays and price increases in products that Americans use daily, creating shortages and potential economic strain. In short, Malaysia's exports are vital to keeping production lines moving across the United States. A loss of these resources would create a significant disruption, highlighting just how essential Malaysia is to sustaining the operations of some of the world's most influential companies and industries. As we've explored, Malaysia's impact on the global economy extends far beyond its borders. Singapore, China, Japan, India, and the United States all rely heavily on Malaysia's unique resources, from energy and natural resources to advanced electronics and critical trade routes. Each of these countries would face serious challenges, rising costs, shortages, and production delays if Malaysia's support were suddenly taken away. This undeniable influence shows just how crucial Malaysia is in the intricate web of global trade and production. Malaysia's resources and strategic partnerships sustain economies, power industries, and help stabilize some of the world's most important nations. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments, did you realize Malaysia had this much influence on the world? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Sebetulnya sederhana aja ya. Malaysia tuh punya sumber air yang banyak, mereka punya kebun sawit, mereka bisa menciptakan semikonduktor yang baik, yang mana komponen-komponen tersebut kalau Malaysia berhenti nge-ekspor, 5 negara itu bakal kalang kabut, bakal kesusahan, bakal gimana nih gua, pokoknya bakal banyak terdampak, bahkan sampai ke makanan, ke harga-harga yang tentunya bakal meningkat. Produksi smartphone canggih seperti kayak Apple itu juga bakal tertunda jika Malaysia menghentikan ekspornya ke negara-negara yang tadi disebutkan. Luar biasa banget guys. Kalau dibilang Malaysia kayak sumber daya alam, menurut aku kalau dibandingkan dengan Indonesia, sorry banget, Indonesia lebih banyak sumber daya alamnya, tapi Malaysia lebih bisa memanfaatkannya mereka. Bahkan kelima negara itu benar-benar bergantung sama Malaysia. Itu luar biasanya Malaysia guys. Mereka bisa memanfaatkan apa yang mereka miliki. Beberapa kali tadi semikonduktor disebutkan di berbagai negara. Apabila supply-nya dihentikan itu mereka bakal ripuh, bakal susah banget gitu. Karena Malaysia merupakan raksasa semikonduktor seperti yang aku bahas di video sebelumnya kalau kalian nonton. Keren. Dan gue gak nyangka ya, negara-negara besar yang menurut kita tuh pikirnya gak bakal, kayaknya gak butuh deh Amerika gitu sama negara kita kayak Indonesia, Malaysia. Tapi ternyata butuh banget sama Malaysia. Mereka bener-bener bergantung banget, bener-bener kayak menggantungkan hidupnya pada Malaysia. Menurutku Indonesia harus lebih bisa memanfaatkan sumber daya dan juga kekayaan yang kita miliki deh, bener gak? Biar kayak Malaysia nih, mereka bener-bener kayak dirajakan banget oleh 5 negara ini. Nggak bisa berkutik mereka tanpa Malaysia. Keren. Dari video gue mau berdoa semoga Malaysia bisa terus mempertahankan ini, bahkan lebih baik lagi gitu ya. Doa terbaik untuk Indonesia dan Malaysia, semoga kita bisa semakin maju ke depannya, sama-sama maju ya, dan damai tentunya, jangan ada saling menyenggol satu sama lain. Sama-sama kita berjalan menuju kebaikan aja guys. So ini udah malam, itu jamnya mati tapi saya mau tidur. Terima kasih sudah nonton video ini, semoga ada manfaatnya, semoga kalian mendapatkan pengetahuan sedikit aja, gak apa-apa, gue senang banget. Saya dan pamit, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, bye bye.